Hi everyone, this is Tom with the LEC recap of this week. The LEC just finished its 4th week of play, which is the final weekend before the LEC is taking a small break. So let's go over all the matches that were played and highlight some interesting moments as usual. The weekend started with XL versus Vitality. Now, it started off pretty evenly, as was probably expected, because XL and Vitality heading into the match were both kind of at the bottom of the standings, and XL had a small upward trend and Vitality a small downward trend in their results and in their play. So, as expected, a pretty even start. XL got first blood, Vitality got the first Drake, and yeah, slowly but surely XL actually managed to take control over the game. They secured a Baron and made life very difficult for Vitality, and especially Kreis had an interesting moment where he showed how quick and swift he was with his gangplank play, as we can see in this clip.
You'll see that he actually has a gold lead over Special in towards mid, which is a big deal, but not quite enough to overtake Kreis. Now we got to play in the bot lane.
You can see Kabashot and Enchi trying to fight this one. The subjugate comes down. Milica, I could have taken package and been here a little bit earlier, but I think they're still going to be able to chase down Kreis pretty easily here.
Yeah, but they're going to lose an inhibitor for this. Maybe even two. It's taking them forever. Look at the man just running away. Look at the move speed. It's too nuts. He can even ult and flash.
Look at the move speed. Look at the plays. Kreis is touching everything. He flashes. He gets the oranges. And Milica doesn't have the package. The cannon barrage going to slow him down. Oh, Kreis. Oh. Get your Pepe laughs out in chat, because this is an oh no moment here for...
However, Vitality did not let that get to them. They fought back, actually secured the Baron, and got XL to put in more effort throughout the match to secure it. XL did manage to get their win in the end, so the upward trend for them continues, and the Vitality downward trend is also continuing. The second match is between Schalke 04 and Mad Lions. Now, everybody expected, obviously, that Mad Lions would stomp Schalke 04 because Mad Lions had only suffered one loss in the split up till then, and Schalke had not secured any win at all. However, Schalke, playing again with Gilius in the jungle instead of Lurox, started actually very strong. Gilius was able to play on his Lee Sin, which is his signature champion, and they dominated the early game. They secured 3 Drakes, and they were applying pressure all over the map. But on Mad Lion's side, slowly but surely Shadow started to secure kills on his Volibear, and things turned around pretty drastically in the mid game. Schalke gave up all their advantages and had horrible team fights. They were stomped by Mad Lions completely, with Orome, Humanoid and Karsi all stepping up, and even though the game started off well for Schalke, they got demolished in the end, and Mad Lions won the game with a 21-4 kill score. So yeah, that was a pretty big turnaround from them, and props to Mad Lions obviously for doing that. Then the third game was between Fnatic and SK Gaming, and Fnatic had a strong start. They played with Bwipo on the Urgot, which is obviously a very exciting champion to watch. At least I find it personally a very exciting champion to see. But on SK side, props to them. They picked an unusual Ziggs on the mid lane for Zazie. Selfmade was on the Nocturne of Fnatic side, and with those picks, the action commenced. And SK, while behind in the early game, they climbed back a bit with some good team fights. They were getting the dragons as usual. SK is a team that so far is playing very much around the dragon in the LEC. SK got the Dragon Soul, but Fnatic on the other hand got the Baron. And eventually Fnatic just pushed SK out of the game. They showed their superiority in team fight play and macro play. They played around all of the map, and SK just couldn't keep up with that, and Fnatic secured the win for themselves. The fourth match was an incredibly boring match. Rogue played against Origin, and while Rogue tried to engage a lot of times and tried some dives and tried to pick team fights, Origin just held back and wouldn't allow Rogue to get any of these picks or any of these team fights. For the first 30 minutes, virtually nothing happened. You can, if you want to watch a match with team fights and some action, you can skip the first 30 minutes. After 30 minutes though, something very exciting did happen, but it was probably the only exciting thing that stood out during this entire match.
Win their day. Here comes Wukong.
Big flank on the backside.
Here comes Finn, leaps in. That's one knockup. He's exhausted. He goes forward. He gets the second knockup. That's two. It's Larson on the backside. OG, they need to get something done. Larson, can he fire forward? But no, he dashes in, he leaps in, but it's not going to be enough. They're shutting him down. Larson, oh, he oversteps, and Rogue were not welcome in that pit. They tried to show up anyway, and OG are going to be able to grab this one. Inspired, it's all eyes on you. Can you steal this Baron?
You have the reset coming in. Nukeduck does have teleport. He's just restocking his mana, restocking his health, and then it's his job to zone away Inspired. Nukeduck is on the case as Vander is racing towards this pit. Here comes another TP.
They're burning everything. Every single resource left in the game. Hansama going forward, maybe. Can Syndra steal it? Syndra looking for the setup. You gotta get it! Hansama, are you kidding me? Rogue throw the entire game away. OG win a beautiful fight, but it's not enough. The shutdowns come through, and Hansama makes the impossible possible.
But even after this Baron was stolen, the match didn't end. It went on for many more minutes and finished, I think, around 46 minutes, which is the second longest game in the split. And it was just incredibly boring. Very little happened. And yeah, you shouldn't rewatch this match if you want to follow the interesting storylines and watch highlights of these teams play. Now, Rogue did manage to close out the game and win, which is, considering everything, far more exciting than this match could ever be, because Rogue is at the top of the standings. And even in the beginning of the split, people were saying that Rogue had a soft schedule and that's why they were ahead. But now they're definitely proving that they are worthy contenders for a world spot, and nobody should disregard them easily just because of their schedule. Origin, on the other hand, they have a lot of work to do. With their team, you should expect at least a top 4 contender, and they're not playing like that at all. The final match of the day was far more exciting. It was G2 versus Misfits, and the excitement came mostly from G2's side, because Caps whipped out a Kog'Maw on the mid lane. And it took off. It took a while to take off. Misfits actually stayed in the game for a bit, getting 2 Drakes. But man, Kog'Maw just obliterated Misfits that game. It was an insane damage output. And at 25 minutes, Caps had a 10-1 score in KD. So yeah, it was definitely some some big Caps energy coming out there. And let's finish that with a clip as well.
Many of these fights, but it's a PSA, don't play this champion in solo queue. This is not what it looks like without a coordinated team behind you. They're going. The big set to start off. They pulled Kog'Maw back, but Mickey X has said no. He's saved him for now. Dots wants to re-engage, but he's not going to get the chance. Donovan flashes in, but Caps is still alive. The boulder goes. They know their only job is to peel for Caps, and as a result, Caps just gets to kill every single member. That's the double. Dan's going to come out. Caps lining up for the triple, and Mickey's going to take it away in the end. Are you kidding me? G2 are not touched in that team fight.
On the second day, Rogue played against SK Gaming, and in terms of standings, this should maybe be a closer match. However, Rogue just absolutely stomped SK Gaming. Finn had an incredibly strong game on his Gangplank, and Larson and Hansama were also popping off during that game. SK had very little to say in this game, and Rogue, once again, they are very impressive this split so far. They secured themselves a top 1 spot, as we'll see later, shared with Mad Lions. Then there was Vitality versus Origin, and Origin was getting the Drakes, Vitality was getting the kills. So in those stats, they were actually pretty even, I suppose, but Vitality slowly bent the game into their favor. Origin played horribly. Once again, this team has a lot of work to do, but the Origin was just getting caught unnecessarily. People were wandering off on their own, and Vitality would be there to pounce, strike them down, and bend the game even further into their favor. And yeah, the highlight of this match came at the end, I would say, when a pentakill was secured by Comp.
They just keep sieging here. Why not? You got a lot of tools. Have to be careful about grouping up, obviously, but still, you've got Cabo Shard there to peel, NG to peel. You can step forward, you can play a bit more aggressive. Spellbinder on Melitza is there, 70 stacks, 80 stacks now. That's going to be a clean stun. That's the follow with the ult, but he's just denied Cabo Shard his ult. They're going to turn it on Upset instead, and now Nukeduck has to run for the hills, but he's still down. No! Vitality, they're going to close this one out cleanly. OG thought they could have a desperate last stand, but all it was desperate. Triple kill comes in for Comp. Do they try to give him the Penta here? That's what I want to see. Comp, Penta, Quadra, Destiny. Oh. Going forward, do we get the Penta?
Get in there, be a LeBron.
Do it.
Tank for him.
He's earned it. Oh, Vitality, they're just going to close out the game. They're just going to tie up the gold lead. No,
Here we go.
Give it to him. Pentakill! Yes! Vitality.
Now, if you had to summarize the LEC summer split in one match, it would be in the third match of the second day. Fnatic versus Schalke 04. By all means, Schalke 04 should lose this game. They had not won a single game in the split yet, failed to close out games, and even though Fnatic was looking shaky in the split so far, you would guess that in terms of individual power, they should win against Schalke. Well, no. Fnatic didn't stand a chance against Schalke 04. I'm not gonna spoil anything of the clips. You should definitely just watch the VOD. But Schalke 04 dominated and beat Fnatic. It was a fiesta. Honestly, Fnatic looked chaotic. They looked in shambles. And Schalke 04 was coherent. They obviously have an incredibly long way to go if they want to still find a way to the playoffs, and they need to play more as a team overall and be able to close out the matches like they failed, for example, on the first day. But against Fnatic, they were on, and Fnatic was nowhere to be seen. So definitely watch that match, in my opinion, if you want to catch up with how the LEC has been going so far. The fourth match was between G2 and XL. Now, G2, obviously, they were playing with Pinoy for the entire weekend, actually. I failed to mention that earlier, but no worries about that. And because Perks is on a holiday, getting a mental reset, definitely good for him to do that. G2 was getting the Drakes, but slowly XL was getting back into the game, and this is where everything exploded, and the game just went on to become a complete fiesta. It's exciting, and I didn't share the Fnatic vs Schalke 04 game, but I'm gonna share a few clips of this match. The first one was a pretty exciting Baron fight.
There is 35 seconds that XL can look to secure this. They've got a Aphelios, he has the chakrams. Here we go, XL going to start this one off.
And you've got two AD carries because Kryze can just work through it as well with the Blade of the Moon King and the Phantom Dancer. He will add his support incredibly quickly. Jankos now perhaps caught out, but Mickey does a really good job of jumping onto special. Jankos though still very low, he's going to get taken out. Patrick now gets his second kill of the game. Mickey trying to dodge around. The Baron has reset just a little, I believe, up towards the top side of this, but XL are going to start it up once again. Caps up in 9 with TP, another hook lands. It's Wonder who's been caught. The chain's going to lock him down. Cadro jumping forward with the Stormbringer. Mickey trying to get on towards the back line. Cadro's low though, you don't want to lose your jungler before this happens. As Caps goes in, he's going to teleport into the fight now as Patrick. He's winning a 2v1. Pinoy's trying to get away, and here comes Caps. The flash away from Patrick keeps him alive. Mickey dies as well, and this has been exceptional stuff from Patrick and from XL as well. I thought Cadro was going to fall. I thought they bit enough more than they could chew. Caps though somehow finds 2 at the end of it, but XL get an ace and they
So from here on, everything seemed like it could happen. And then a dragon was stolen.
XL got to try and fight for this because an Azir with Infernum is going to be absolutely devastating. XL coming in, but it's a 3v2, 4v2 in just a second as Pinoy comes around the corner, and that dragon's already been started up, and XL realize they can't fight. Oh, what the? No, what? How did it? What? I don't even know how he got that. Mickey's going to jump in now. Jankos, how did what? Patrick's dominating. I don't even understand.
G2 wasn't playing well at all, and XL just smelled the blood. They played fearlessly, they played relentlessly, and props to them, absolutely props to them to step it up against G2, because that's definitely still one of the most fearsome opponents in the LEC, given their performances historically, right? The final thing to close out the clips of these matches is just some pure 200 years of collective game design experience.
Cogmore, I think, has worked out beautifully, and now Patrick in a position to actually carry this game as G2 looks to try and kill him.
Deja vu. We've seen Patrick in this position before. He's shuffled back. He does have the GA this time. He's not taking any damage. Oh my god, the Severum just does so much work for him. G2 going to try and capitalize on him as he comes back up. He's healing. He's surviving. Oh my god.
And from here on, XL impressively just closed out the game. They stepped up against G2, still one of the most fearsome opponents in the league, and had their first 2-0 week in this year so far. Then there was Misfits vs Mad Lions, the match of the week according to the LEC, because given the excitement that surrounded it. And obviously Mad Lions probably the best team in the league at the moment, and Misfits among the 7 teams that dwell somewhere in the middle of the pack, and anybody could steal any game in the LEC so far. And I'm not gonna give away too much yet because I want to talk about the game, but the match was interesting. Resorg actually picked a fiddlesticks, I should say, but you probably know what I mean with fiddle, in the jungle, and had an unusual build picking Unsealed Spellbook. Now you might wonder which summon the spells would Fiddlesticks in a jungle position want to keep swapping out. Well, at some point he actually swapped out his smite, and it did work very well for him, as we see in this clip.
Flying top lane, here he comes! I'm so excited by this. The teleport coming in, there's the catapult as well. And here comes Fiddle! Krasi goes down first. Kaiser tries to flash away, but the follow is there. Misfits 4-0 on the scoreboard.
Razor gets the kills in the top lane.
From there on, Misfits just dominated. It was incredible to see how well they were playing, and also how poorly Mad Lions was playing. Misfits had a 10-2 lead in kills at some point in the game, and they just stomped Mad Lions. It was an incredible conclusion to the week, with Misfits securing the win. Mad Lions going 7-2 in the standings together with Rogue, as we'll see now. So let's take a look at the standings in the LEC. On top of the scoreboard we find Mad Lions with 7 wins and 2 losses. Together with Rogue, also with 7 wins and 2 losses so far. They are, surprisingly, the most consistent teams in this split and look secured for a playoff spot. Obviously, a lot can happen in the second half of the split, but the way they've been playing, they are heading in the right direction. Then there's 2 teams with a 5 and 4 score, G2 Esports and Misfits. On a shared 5th place, we find 5 teams. It's Fnatic, Origin, Vitality, XL and SK Gaming, all ending this first half of the split with a negative scoreline. Finally, to round up the standings, Schalke 04 now no longer without a victory at 1-8 in this split. That is it for the LEC recap of week 4 of the LEC summer split. Now, as I said before, the LEC is going to take a small break. The LEC will be back on the 17th of July, which is next week, Friday. So the players get about 2 weeks of rest before they get into the action again. So the next LEC preview will be next week, Thursday, on the 16th. Let me know what you thought were interesting highlights of the past weekend or of the first half of the split so far, and stay tuned for more content.